Welcome back everybody to another Fallout video. Today we're going to do another 5 things every Fallout player should know about. I did one of these previously. If you haven't already watched that video, I will link it here. That last video was pretty popular and I had a lot of feedback, and I've been playing with some people that had some suggestions as well. So I've polled and got a lot of new ideas and some tips for new players and some seasoned people. So without further ado, we're going to jump into it. And if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below and we'll get right to it. Now, the first one I want to talk about, and the most important, is Workbench Repair. Now, this seems to be the one that everybody has suggested I go over because it seems to be the one that gets overlooked quite a bit for new players especially. This is going to save you real money, and do not spend money buying repair kits. It kind of gets overlooked because it is hidden at the bottom. Workbench Repair. Yes, you can repair your guns if you just go scrap and get the items necessary for each gun. Do not buy repair kits. I mean, yes, you can earn them in the atomic shop. They like to give them to you for free sometimes as rewards, but make sure you are just getting scrap to repair your guns. And if you do not have enough items, you can get them in the world just by going and getting junk. You can do this with your guns, with your armor. It is available for everything you need. And if you do not have the available stuff, like for both of these items here, I don't have enough stuff for repairing these items, you can toggle it so it will show up with a magnifying glass. So when you're out and about in the world, it will put a magnifying glass next to items and it'll alert you, hey, you need this to repair your items. So like with this, I need adhesive. So this tells me when I'm out to keep a lookout for like duct tape, things like that, glue. So like with this, it says, hey, I need to loot this junk pile. It probably has what I need in it. So make sure you're always aware of that. It might just take a little time to go out, hit the road. This here, these Fierce Floaters, has exactly what I need, excessive adhesive. Be aware of that. All right, let's talk about the opposite now. Let's talk about if you have so much junk you don't know what to do with it and you need some extra caps. Now, if you look at your junk, you notice that most of it doesn't sell for really anything, no value whatsoever, but you just are sitting on a bunch of it. What do you do with it? Well, if you go over to your Tinker Bench and you bulk it up, you make bundles of it. You scroll down to bulk and say you have a ton of bulk oil and you make bundles of it, you will see that it now has a value and you can take it to a vendor and you can then sell it. So that is an easy way to turn around and make some extra caps at a vendor. All right, next up, crouching in combat. Now, this is going to be great for new players especially, but crouching in combat helps to stabilize when you're aiming and makes you a lot harder to hit, and it gives you a little bit of a boost in damage, and it gives you a nice little handy thing at the top of your screen. It lets you know if to be cautious. It lets you know if you're detected or not. Lets you know if you're out of their range and if they don't know if you're there or not. I also run a perk that lets me cloak for a little bit. So overall, it's a great little thing to do, especially to help you stabilize your aim. Moving on, I thought I would throw a little trick in here for you guys, especially if you haven't already changed your drop bag over to be something a little bit more noticeable, or if you lose your bag sometimes. This is something you should definitely try out. This is also great if you have killed a bunch of enemies and you lose them. There's a lot of grassy areas on the map. And this is great for this. If you hit M and you go into photo mode with T, if you zoom out, you can easily find your drop bag. You can find the bodies that you've killed. If you move your field of view out all the way with the slider, you can see everything. You can find your drop bag. That little brown bag gets easily lost. The skull and crossbones is not very accurate. You can find the bodies that have dropped everywhere. You can find your drop bag. And it's a great way to find your missing objects. So use that. Turn your depth of field off. Okay, moving on, and something I find important that some new players might not know about. I know a lot of seasoned players will have picked up on this, but this board right here are covered in not just decoration, but posters. So new players, these are important because posters give us missions now. They're not just nice posters to hang on the wall. Click on these. If you see these out and about in the world, they will reward you with some new side missions. And they're pretty fun, honestly. Most of these are interesting little things we can pick up now. The Rose Room, I didn't have this one unlocked yet on this playthrough. So I've done this one before in a previous one. And these are really, really fun. Sheep Squatch is one of my favorite ones, honestly. And the vault one next to this on this board is really cool. I highly recommend this one. I talked about this in a previous video, the shelters one, so do that. And lastly, we're going to be going over the Atomic Shop. Now, most people think this is pretty straightforward. This is just where you buy things, but there are some hidden things in here that people are not aware of. We're going to be talking about the icons section. So a lot of the times we unlock things that they give us for free, and people are not aware that this is actually where we change our icons as well. So if you own something in here, this is where we actually change the icon. So if you own it, go in here. If you do not like the icon that you have on currently, go in the icons section and you can change it if you own it in here. So I always run the Rocket Girl because I am the Rocket Girl, obviously. But if you don't like what you have equipped because you just unlocked it because it's what you have on as default, this is where you change it. Same with emotes. If you own it, you can change your emote wheel in here. So if you don't like what you have equipped, you can go in here and change that as well. This is also where you can change your bag if you die to be something more noticeable so you do not lose it, like I previously talked about. You can have it to be both your drop bag and your death bag, or you can have it one or the other. So I highly recommend doing that so it's a little easier to find. Or you can use my trick if you would like, but I recommend doing something a little bit more noticeable so you do not lose it. And another piece of advice I would like to say is make sure you are always looking through all of these categories here to make sure that they did not break down the bundles if you're tempted to buy one of the bundles for an individual item, because sometimes, and a lot of the times actually, they will piece out the items for individual sale from the bundles, but they're kind of hidden down in here. And a lot of people don't realize it and will just settle for one of the bundles. And they're kind of hidden down here pretty far because people don't want to spend the time to look way down here. So, and they'll be pretty cheap too, like 100 points just for an item instead of 11 to 1200. So make sure you're spending the time if you're really, really tempted to buy a bundle for just one or two items, that it's not buried way down here, especially if you're a Fallout First member. All right, guys, I think that'll be it for today's video. Hopefully that was helpful. And as always, don't forget to hit that like or subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.